Feel exhausted from meditation and self improvement gurus not working for you? Are you feeling like, oh, this is all psychobabble? Nothing will help me with my goals. Nothing aligns with my practices. Yoga, meditation, manifesting, it's just all hacks. It doesn't work. Well, in this episode, we're going to talk about why this happens and how to fix it, how to create opportunities and new growth, and how to make sure that you get what you want out of life. So, hi, I'm Jackie Gonzales. This is the 5 Practices to Social Wealth. Please subscribe, like, comment, share. It's really important to me that we're both going through this together and we're making our lives financially and socially wealthy. So, today we're talking about the cause and effect bias, which is by David Hume. We're going to recognize and challenge the cause and effect bias by freeing ourselves to explore new paths to mental, financial, and spiritual well being, because growth isn't a straight line, it is a messy, winding road. Much like Dorothy. Dorothy knew all along that it was her, but Glinda helped her realize that through her red shoes. So we're going to find your new sparkly red shoes. The importance of authentic self-improvement and avoiding the cause and effect bias. In a world where self-improvement and spirituality often intersect with skepticism, it's easy to dismiss these pursuits as inauthentic or ineffective. On platforms like YouTube, TikTok, etc., anything in social media where ideas flow freely, I've noticed a troubling trend: people turning away from personal growth because they've encountered individuals or advice that felt shallow or misleading. This dismissal stems in part from a cognitive shortcut known as the cause and effect bias, a principle rooted in the work of 18th century philosopher David Hume. Hume emphasized that our minds are quick to infer causal relationships based on mere associations, even when no direct evidence supports them. This bias can lead to faulty conclusions about self-improvement and spirituality, discouraging people from engaging with transformative practices. It's preventing you from becoming the best you by believing that because one thing didn't work for you, that means this doesn't work for you. It's why there's millions and millions of creators on YouTube like myself who are trying to improve your lives, and why it's not one size fits all. You may like this creator or like this creator and not like this one, and that's okay. It doesn't mean you're never going to watch YouTube again. It doesn't mean you're never going to consume social media. Just because one thing doesn't work, it doesn't mean that nothing works. That is all or nothing thinking. So, for example, you may see someone work with a life coach who overpromises and underdelivers. Disappointed, you might conclude that all coaches are ineffective or even predatory. Or you might attend a meditation class that feels uncomfortable or boring and assume meditation itself has no value. This kind of reasoning limits personal growth and creativity and prevents us from exploring the full range of opportunities for improvement. So let's explore the roots of cause and effect bias, its impact on self-improvement and spirituality, and practical steps to overcome it. By the end, you'll be equipped with tools to recognize and challenge this bias, enabling a more thoughtful and authentic journey toward mental, financial, and spiritual well-being. You'll be this much wealthier, so much wealthier, after listening to this. So, what is the cause and effect bias? The cause and effect bias is a cognitive error that occurs when we assume a direct causal relationship between two events simply because they occur together. While it can help us navigate the world efficiently, this bias can also lead to false assumptions and missed opportunities. David Hume argued that humans often confuse correlation with causation. So you may be late to work and then you get fired because you couldn't get that one green light and you're at a red light. Does that mean you're never going to work again? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just because you see dark clouds and then rain doesn't mean the clouds cause the rain. They are related, but not necessarily causally linked. Similarly, when someone fails to achieve a goal, despite following common advice, they might believe the advice itself was flawed, overlooking other factors such as their effort, environment, or timing. In the realm of self-improvement, this bias manifests in several ways. One of them is overgeneralization from negative experiences. A person might try one method for financial growth, such as budgeting apps. I myself use my Notes app, and my parents use Excel. It's whatever works for you. I found that budgeting apps don't really help me, but it could help you because, again, it's not one size fits all. And so they'll find this ineffective, and then they'll just dismiss all budgeting tools as useless, rather than exploring other options. Then we associate authenticity with results. If a spiritual practice doesn't produce immediate results, it's often labeled as fake or ineffective, even if it requires time and consistency. Everything you do in life requires time plus value equals consistency. Whenever you want to be wealthy or invest in yourself, it takes time to see the results. It's not immediate. And when it usually is immediate, it's very, very, very rare. So please remember this. It takes time. Misattribution of success of failure. People might credit a single factor, such as a book, a coach, or a seminar, for a significant life change while ignoring other contributing elements like personal effort or timing. Just because you don't have millions of YouTube subscribers doesn't mean you're failing. It means, how long have you had your channel? What marketing strategies have you tried? There's always a new perspective to be found if we allow ourselves to ask these questions. These patterns are reinforced by our tendency to seek simple explanations in complex situations. For example, if I don't have millions of subscribers, it must mean I'm lame. That's a cause and effect bias. It does not mean you're lame. It just means your growth strategies aren't currently working and you need to find a new perspective. So self-improvement is rarely linear, and causation is often multifaceted. There are multiple factors of why something doesn't work. It doesn't mean it's simple. Real world examples of the cause and effect bias in self-improvement. So we have financial missteps, for example. Imagine someone hires a financial advisor but sees no improvement in their savings after 6 months. Frustrated, they decide that all financial advisors are scammers. However, this overlooks critical questions. Were the advisor's recommendations followed? Were there external factors such as unexpected expenses? Maybe they had to go to the hospital and they had to pay 20 or 60K, and this affected their savings. It doesn't mean the financial advisor was at fault. It just means life happened. By focusing solely on the perceived failure of the advisor, they missed the opportunity to refine their own habits. Spiritual practices. A person attends a yoga retreat expecting immediate enlightenment when they don't feel any profound change. They conclude that yoga isn't effective for personal growth. This assumption ignores the incremental nature of spiritual practices. It takes time to see the benefits. Anything you do in life usually takes a certain amount of time to see the benefits, and after a certain amount of time you don't see those benefits, guess what? You don't try. You try again and you try again and you look for new growth opportunities. Opportunity doesn't knock on your door. It's you seeking this opportunity. It's you finding creative ways, getting your mind jogging, and putting yourself in a place where you're ready to receive the opportunities. But if you put blinds over your eyes and decide every time you fall that that's it, you're not going to have a very easy life. Then you have mental health interventions. Someone starts therapy but feels discouraged after a few sessions because they haven't seen a significant improvement in their anxiety. They decide that therapy doesn't work, failing to recognize that healing often requires patience, consistency, and a strong rapport with the therapist. There's thousands, millions, billions of therapists. There's billions of people on this planet. It doesn't mean because one or two people didn't work that it's never going to work. And these examples highlight the importance of questioning our assumptions and looking beyond surface level outcomes. Here are the 5 practices to social wealth and to recognize and overcome the cause and effect bias. You want to question your assumptions. When you encounter a disappointing experience, pause to ask yourself, was the process flawed or was it the execution? Did I follow all of the steps? Did I do everything? Also, are the external factors that might have influenced the outcome, what were the external factors? Are there external factors? Was I sick that day and so the video wasn't as great, for example? If my YouTube video didn't do as well, was it because of the growth strategies or was it because of me because I just didn't have the energy that day? There's multiple factors and there's never one simple solution. For instance, if a meditation app doesn't help you focus, consider whether the timing of your sessions, your mindset, or external distractions played a role. By questioning assumptions, you open the door to deeper understanding and better solutions. And you want to seek multiple perspectives. Whenever I make a huge life decision, I always ask my close friends and families for their opinions. I put it all together, and then that's how I make the right choice, at least what I feel is the right choice. One of the best ways to overcome cognitive biases is to expose yourself to diverse viewpoints. Talk to people who have succeeded in areas where you've struggled and ask them about their experiences, for example. If a budgeting method didn't work for you, seek advice from someone with familiar financial goals, but a different approach. There are always different approaches. Remember, it's abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. You want to explore books, podcasts, or online communities that challenge your preconceptions about self-improvement. Just like there's millions and millions of movies, there's millions and millions of ways. There's always a way. Diverse perspectives provide alternative explanations that help you avoid drawing premature conclusions. And you want to evaluate the evidence. Before dismissing a practice, tool, or philosophy, take time to examine the evidence. Ask yourself, what objective data supports my conclusion? Are there studies, testimonials, or personal accounts that provide a broader picture? If you feel that journaling isn't effective, consider reading about the long-term benefits others have experienced. Look for patterns in their habits and compare them to your own practice. And you want to reflect on your biases. Our past experiences, emotions, and beliefs heavily influence our perceptions. So to counteract this, reflect on the following. Am I projecting a past failure onto this new opportunity? For example, if I had one bad relationship, that means all my relationships won't work out. That's not true. I'm relating one bad experience to all experiences. Are your emotions clouding your judgment? Sometimes when we feel hangry and we haven't ate, we can feel like the world is falling around us. But as soon as we eat, we look at the world much in a better light. So it could be your emotions in your emotional state that's affecting your physical growth in that moment and your mental growth in that moment. If a previous relationship with a spiritual mentor ended poorly, you might hesitate to trust another. Recognizing this bias allows you to approach new opportunities with an open mind. And you want to focus on your personal journey. Remember, self-improvement is deeply personal. Avoid comparing your progress to others or expecting universal solutions. Just because I have on my vision board, I'm going to wake up with millions and millions of dollars doesn't mean it'll happen like that. It takes time, work, and effort. Avoid comparing your progress to others or expecting universal solutions. What works for someone else, it might not work for you, and that's okay. You want to tailor your practices to align with your unique needs, values, and goals. That's why when people ask me, well, what's your advice about investing? I always say it's highly personal because investing, like anything in life, is personal and it's up to you. There are some universal rules, but other than that, you add to what you're doing. You add your own personal touch to everything that you do because this life is affected by you. You make an impact. It's why accountability is so important. While some people thrive on structured morning routines, others find success with flexible schedules. The key is to experiment and adapt without letting initial failures deter you. You want to practice self-compassion. When you fail, don't be like, oh no, it's all gone. No, no, no. Don't say, oh, it's me, it's my fault. Just have the growth to realize that, you know what, it's just a bad day. It's temporary. Maybe in a few moments, in a few hours, or in a couple days, I'll feel better. It'll be much better. We want to acknowledge that growth is messy and nonlinear. Growth is always very, very messy. It's why there are a lot of transitional phases in our life. You want to embrace setbacks. You want to embrace setbacks as opportunities to learn rather than evidence of failure. When you approach self-improvement with compassion, you're more likely to persist and adapt. You want to be mindful and you want to be gracious and have gratitude for the small successes. So when the big successes have, you don't feel overwhelmed by it. Or if you fail, you don't feel like everything's a failure. You want to adopt a scientific approach. Treat self improvement as an experiment. For every new method or practice, set clear goals, track your progress, and evaluate the results objectively. This approach reduces emotional reactions and helps you make data driven decisions. So, if you write down what works and doesn't work, you have a journal and you can reflect on what worked and didn't work, and you have the data to prove that. You also want to embrace small changes, like I was saying. People abandon self improvement because they expect dramatic results overnight. Instead, focus on small, consistent changes over time. These incremental shifts compound into significant transformation. Your little nest egg will be a full grown adult flying over the sky with time and patience. The role of awareness in spiritual and personal growth is so important. Spirituality often involves practices that challenge the cause and effect bias directly. Meditation encourages awareness of thoughts and emotions without judgment, helping you recognize and release cognitive distortions. Gratitude practices shift your focus from external outcomes to internal states, reducing the tendency to overanalyze causation. Incorporating these practices into your routine fosters a deeper connection to yourself and the world around you, making it easier to navigate the complexities of growth. Self improvement is a lifelong journey. You won't have the key tomorrow or when you wake up, but you will if you have the time and maturity and the appreciation of value over time and incremental change. Authentic self improvement is about evolving with intention. Every successful person has an intention. They visualize what they're going to implement before they do it. It's not about perfection or blindly following trends. If you make a mistake, get back up. You can do it. Just keep doing it. Keep following what you're doing. And also be aware of what doesn't work and then change it. It's okay. Change is not scary. Embrace it. Embrace change. Life is transitional. Embrace curiosity, being willing to try and adapting as you go. You are adaptable. David Hume's insights into causation remind us that the world is rarely as straightforward as it seems. By recognizing and challenging the cause and effect bias, we free ourselves to explore new paths to mental, financial, and spiritual well being. Growth isn't a straight line, it's a winding road. It's like the yellow brick road. Dorothy didn't know that she had it in her before she went through all the paths and trials of the yellow brick road, and she finally got home. And it wasn't because of those red shiny shoes. It wasn't because of the sparkles. It was because she gained the wisdom through patience and perseverance. She didn't just give up. And she listened to supportive people around her. She listened to herself. And that's what's important. That's what self improvement is. You want to trust yourself and trust your entourage. Growth isn't a straight line. It is a yellow brick road. And every step you take on that road, no matter how small, brings you closer to a more fulfilling life. And that's why we're here. Again, this is Jackie Gonzales, the 5 ways and 5 practices to social wealth. Please subscribe, like, comment, and share. Thank you so much. I cannot wait to see how your journey just continues. Just keep going. Don't give up. Every failure is a success because it's an opportunity to learn. Always be a lifelong learner.